Warning, the following is intended for mature audiences. It includes references to the use of illicit substances as well as crude humor. Listener discretion is advised. Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship No Man's Sky. Its continuing mission to create a finished game. To provide DLC that will flesh out its almost empty galaxy. To boldly go where most games go at launch. That's the wrong theme. It's the wrong theme.
Star Trek: The Next Generation?
You started with original. Obviously, today we are talking about No Man's Skis.
No Man's Trek.
No Man's Sky, what was slated to us, almost a year ago? To be the end-all, be-all, procedurally generated video game experience that will allow you to answer your phone in the middle of your Vcast. That was going to create something that was the size of a galaxy, and they were going to be able to do it in record time because they were going to use a procedure that was able to build planets and systems and populate them all with a computer program instead of asking people to program them in finite space.
Yep.
Of course, the result was, as Jeremy put it, thumb in the poop. Yeah, I played it, and I stand by what I said, is that while it looks very bad, you cannot get the experience by watching a Let's Play. I tried. It is a therapeutic game. It is fun. It is fun in the same way that games like Minecraft or Viva Pinata are fun. Is that they're just something to do. They don't ask much of you, but they are not these grandiose space conflicts and endeavors into exploration that we thought that it would be, or that, as many people say, they claimed it would be. And that's the issue. That's
the topic of discussion. Was that we were promised this bright, shining, trophy of a video game, and then what we received was like a participation ribbon.
Yeah.
Thanks for paying full price for what should have been a $19.99, Xbox Live Arcade game. So anyway, needless to say, No Man's Sky was a huge disappointment. I would say, from the fans' perspective, well, not from the fans, but from the end user, the player's perspective, and from the critics as well. I can't find anybody that has a whole lot of good things to say about No Man's Sky.
I said one good thing.
Thanks. But really the topic of discussion is that was No Man's Sky advertised to us falsely?
Right, and that's the reason that we're talking about is because a body known as the ASA, and I wrote it down, Advertising Standards Authority. Mm-hmm. They are an independent British organization, and what they do is they're not a branch of the government, and if they are, then they have no power. But what they do is they wag their finger at people and say what you did was bad. And they're such a large organization, so many people trust them that people have a tendency to do what they say. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what's a thing in America? It's like part of the government, but not. Oh, right, the Federal Reserve.
I would probably say that the equivalent of the organization that we're talking about here for America would be the Better Business Bureau.
You're right.
A negative mark from the Better Business Bureau is not a good thing for a company to have.
Despite the fact that they can't come and arrest you and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
So the Advertising Standards Authority is looking into No Man's Sky as far as the advertisement is concerned to see if Hello Games and Valve may be at fault, because Valve had stuff on their homepage and stuff like that. I think they had the footage, like the big talking point is always the flowing water and the slightly larger animals. But they did make the game look really good. Mm-hmm. And the net result was not that. Now, the tricky thing about this is that the ASA has actually has actually given out sanctions that have led to class action lawsuits, but against people like Sega and stuff like that. But in all the other cases, the precedent has been hey, you said your game would have these numbers, and it didn't. Like, it's like, oh, you said you were going to have this many pixels on the screen, and you actually had this many pixels on the screen.
Right.
So it's a very direct metric. And this is a little bit more, it is a little less quantitative, unfortunately. It's a little bit more up to whether, it's a little bit more up to the user, and it's a quality concern, not a quantity concern.
Right. I think that it's a little bit of a slippery slope, but it's
Links here.
You get into a really an area where you need to tread lightly, where it's kind of like, should we be able to take legal action against companies that make a bad product?
Right.
And I don't think that should ever be a possibility. I mean, I remember watching the tech demo and being very impressed with what No Man's Sky was supposedly going to do.
Yes.
But I don't remember ever the developers saying, hey, you're going to have this amount of, dynamic lighting with, this draw distance with this many pixels on screen, and it's still going to run at 60 frames per second. And just like giving hard details about the game.
Then I think that the best thing they could do is say that the trailers were the product, and then they'll just say the game was sort of a license tag, was sort of a license spin-off. What you paid for was the previews, because those were so much better.
Really, they are.
Didn't we all have fun imagining what No Man's Sky should have been?
Oh, I had a blast.
What's probably not going to happen is a class action lawsuit.
Right.
What's probably going to happen is maybe a small settlement, and that's a maybe, because once again, they didn't give metrics.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Especially since there were organizations, Sony and Valve, they were, well, Sony was a little bit worse with the refunds, as I understand it, but Valve was very good with them. I think one problem that we run into is, a lot of people want to say, okay, yes, we should be able to sue for this. No, we shouldn't be able to sue for this. And I think we want to go black and white with this. But the truth is that I know in the American legal system, you can ask to sue almost anybody for almost any reason.
It's true.
And you'll either get thrown out or not. So I guess if you don't want to get sued, don't be dumb. Don't do what Hello Games did.
That's very true. I'll say it again. I've said it a couple of times, but the tech demo that I saw from E3 and then the actual finished product were two very different things for No Man's Sky. Another company that is notorious for doing this is Ubisoft. Just versions of, Splinter Cell. How big into Splinter Cell I was.
Yes.
And Splinter Cell.
I also want to preface this is that he wanted to talk about this, Ubisoft specifically, because he could have sworn that that Ubisoft had something to do with No Man's Sky, and so he was gonna vet this right now. But no, this is a separate thing altogether.
But it brings us back to the topic.
Yes.
So there was, what we saw from Splinter Cell Conviction and what was, later called Hobo Sam Fisher. If you guys aren't familiar with it, you can Google it.
Hobo Sam won't listen.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, the soundtrack came out. It was released with the game. But what we saw from the tech demos of Splinter Cell Conviction was a very different game. If you were able to sue a developer for making a crap game, I probably would have been tangled in litigation with Ubisoft since 2002.
Getting your 6 cents from that class action lawsuit.
Yeah, but I will say this. I cannot. It's been a long time since I've been that disappointed by a video game. I was really, really, really excited to play this.
Didn't you just take a crack at Star Trek Online?
Yeah.
Even that wasn't worse?
No.
No?
No, I actually had fun with that for a while.
Okay.
No Man's Sky, I had no fun at all.
Okay. See, I had fun. Yes. I didn't have as much fun as I needed. I needed about 6 grams of fun.
Yeah? What did you receive?
About 1.5 grams of fun.
Oh, that's just not going to cut it.
Yeah. Of course, where else can I get 1.5 grams of fun?
Don't answer.
I guess net result here, people. well, we don't really have one. I guess just, once again, we're saying don't be dumb. Hello Games, come out with a free patch that makes your game good. I think on that note, it's time to say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
That's the wrong theme. It's the wrong theme.
Star Trek: The Next Generation?
You started with original. The next gen is how like
Zachary, Mr. Nanimus, it is the same.
Why don't you just go into Enterprise while you're at it? It's been a long road, 'cause we're in space now. Space is so damn far away
From home!
'Cause I've got faith of the heart.